Hi everyone, I'm Brandon J. Welcome to On Air with Brandon J. I am excited today because I've got a special guest joining us. She is a recording artist originally from Detroit, Michigan. However, the thing that I'm most excited about is she's a crossover artist. That's right, she's not just in one genre or format. She's in multiple genres and formats. Miss Mesha. Fiona, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm great. It is so great to have you here on the show. I'm excited because you got a new single coming out, but before we talk about the new single, right, I want to get to the bottom of what was it like growing up in the household, growing up as a child as Fiona Mesha.
So I am the oldest of six kids. We grew up in a very musical house, musical background. So my parents were in the choir. I went to performing arts school. A lot of my siblings do creative things. So it was a normal day. I mean, in Detroit, there's a lot of creativity and a lot of people that have some genius ideas and do music. All of my friends sing. So it's the norm.
Would
really.
you say that Motown was a big influence on your sound?
Absolutely. As a kid, I would take posters and have them all over my walls and ceilings, and I would have like a song lyric notebook where I would write down the lyrics to songs and then practice and try and get every note and rerun it and trying to emulate my favorite stars. So yeah,
that is awesome. And just to let you all out there know, you're not just a recording artist, Fiona, you're also a great songwriter as well. When did you learn that you could put the pad to the pen and write these great lyrics?
At a young age, I would just make up songs and lyrics and just be in my room, and eventually I got to go to the studio with my cousins and then formed a girl group, and I would just freestyle, because sometimes I didn't know that I was going to the studio. Right. Sometimes I did, and I would still be in my notebook just writing stuff out. So it kind of just came naturally.
Would you say that, because this is something that I personally have learned from personal experience, right? Mm-hmm. Being a songwriter, I would get so frustrated because I couldn't finish the lyrics to a song until I went through literally all of these horrible trials and tribulations, and then I was able to write about those experiences. Would you say that has enabled you to become a better writer so that your audience or your listeners can feel the emotion in the lyrics?
I would say yes and no. Honestly, some things I haven't experienced, I've heard, through other people's experiences, and I've written off of that, or I've just imagined myself in the situation. Other things I'm very passionate about that I've been through, and it's like I can write song after song after song, so I don't actually have to be in the situation. I can procreate anything in my mind and put it on paper.
Who would you say are some of your biggest influences in music?
I absolutely loved Whitney Houston. One of my greatest influences. I love her voice. It's so powerful. It's so demanding when she comes into a room. You have to just stop. So I admired that. I want to have that type of presence with my vocals and my voice.
How do you, Fiona Mesha, prepare for the stage? Is there a specific routine? How do you prepare your vocals? All of the above.
So I'll honestly say that I like to start in prayer. Like I just, I want to pray. I want to drink my tea.
Yes.
With my honey, my lemon. I got to get right. Got to make sure the vocals are right. I kind of feel like every time I have a show and I prepare, I'm a little anxious. I'm a little antsy, even if I've performed 1,000 times. So just taking some time to meditate, going over just the record. And then I just kind of get into it. Once I get on the stage, it's just natural. So there's no real routine. Just, my tea, my honey, warm up, and boom. You've
been doing a lot of shows. Mm-hmm. Let's face it. Every time I talk to you, I'm doing another show, right? And this is not a joke. I'm not over exaggerating. You are working, which is phenomenal. Have you been in a show and something random has happened where your mic might go out while you're on stage? How do you cope with that? Because that's got to be nerve-wracking. The anxiety. I've been there, done that. How do you deal with that?
So, I mean, things happen all the time. I'm used
Yeah.
to things happening, whereas them not, them not happening. So my mic goes out, I put the mic down, and I'm going with the crowd. I'm, clapping it up. I might, signal to the DJ, hey, let's take off the show mix. Let's do the regular mix so people
Right.
can vibe. Or I might have a breakdown. It depends. Do I have dancers? It just depends. But the show goes on. Even if I sing something a cappella, which I've done that before as well. It's all about engaging the audience and having a great time and living in the moment with the experience.
Well, as we say in the South, she can sing if she's singing a cappella, right? no pun intended.
You have to be able to sing
Yeah.
a cappella. You have to be able to, the industry is so saturated with so many different artists.
Sure.
So, my main influence, like I said, being Whitney Houston, she's a vocalist. So
Yeah.
I am a vocalist as well. I love to sing in the studio. I am a studio singer, but I'm definitely a vocalist.
Speaking of being a vocalist, do you enjoy up-tempo type songs or ballads, or kind of a combination of both?
I like a combination of both. I don't feel like there are many artists that are doing ballads
Right.
and doing records for movies. So I like the separation that people know, like, oh, is that Fee on the track? Is
Right.
she? But then I also like the up tempo. I like the mid tempo. I like R&B. I like slow. I like anything I can vibe to. I've done country. I've done rock. I've done literally everything. If I can get on the beat and I have the inspiration, I'll cut a record to it.
Fiona, what is a fun fact that nobody can Google about Fiona Mesha?
I will say most people don't know that I was raised in Iowa City, Iowa during my childhood.
Oh, wow.
I was born in Detroit, but I, moved to Iowa and then later moved back to Detroit for high school, and most
That
people
had
don't know
to be
that.
a culture shock. Oh my goodness.
It
You went
was.
from one extreme to the other. They're
It
both
was.
cold though, so they have something in common, right?
It was. It was definitely a culture shock because I feel like I didn't really fit in either one of the environments that I was, transitioning to. And I later realized later on in life that was intentional for me to kind of make my own path. For anybody else that might feel that way or growing up like I feel out of place. But definitely a culture shock on both ends.
Definitely. So let's fast forward to today, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you got this new single Up.
Mm-hmm.
First off, I love the title. How did you come up with the title Up, and what inspired the lyrics?
So for, I want to say the past year and a half, I went through a really difficult breakup with somebody that I cared about, who also did music. And I was in like a depressive state, it was difficult for me to listen to my own songs. It was difficult for me to think about doing music. When you connect your passion with someone in a relationship,
Right.
For me anyway, it doesn't really work well if the situation doesn't go well in the long run. So I just had a moment of just feeling down and just lacking the confidence and not, feeling like, is what I'm doing worth anything as I'm moving forward. And this song signifies a change in season, a change in direction, a change in like how I view myself and what I'm willing to put out. I'm not going to stay in that moment. Up represents being up in spirit, being up in joy, being up with your friends, financially. Anything that you can think of positively, that's what Up represents. So I wanted something that really showed, hey, I'm out of this season, I'm out of this moment in my life, and it's only up from here.
Only up from here. I think it's brilliant because it's definitely a song and lyrics of encouragement and positivity, and I think we all need that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what is next for Fiona.
Well, I just did Snoopin' for Love, which is going to be premiering on several major networks. They are shooting season 2, and I'm super excited because season 1 hasn't even aired yet. So I'm very grateful for that. Georgia Peach with Jasmine Birch, Man Robinson, a film dropping in September that I'm on the soundtrack with, and just many other things to come, including my EP that I plan on dropping before the end of this year. So I'm excited. I'm grateful.
Would you say that getting on these projects for like a Man Robinson, for example, or Snoopin' for Love, would you say that is a very difficult process? Because a lot of independent artists want to know how difficult it is and what is the process that you go about submitting your music for something like that.
So, if I could be honest with any independent artist,
Please be honest.
I would say that it is about the relationships that you build with people.
Yes.
Those placements, those sync placements that I've received were directly intertwined with the relationship that I had with someone. And that comes with just being consistent and working, putting yourself out there. When I was, years down the line in the game, when I was in middle school, high school, I'm like, man, I need a manager, I need this, I need that.
Right.
But the truth is, you don't truly need those things. You just have to be consistent. You have to keep putting stuff out, even if you feel like the quality is not there. You just keep, and it's going to attract someone. And any opportunity, I believe, is something where somebody will believe in you, your brand, and help you or provide the resources. That doesn't always happen. You have to also, invest in self, but just consistency. That's how you do it. There's no one path.
Consistency and authenticity.
Yes.
I always say, Fiona, authenticity triumphs over everything.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, and ask you this question, right? And this is a little controversial.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on AI? Because Timbaland, using Suno, just formed the first, you just signed the first AI recording artist. It was a female. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing for the music industry?
I think it's a little bit of both.
Okay.
Honestly.
Would you care to elaborate?
As far as the negatives, I would say that it kind of takes away that creativity and that space that I feel like as an artist you need to have to be able to easily access something or to change your voice or your vocals. It kind of takes away that authentic piece that I feel like an artist should have, and it makes it a little easier, whereas when you think about we talk about Motown or back in the day, it had to be authentic. You had to have the vocals. You can't just go in and tune or use a plug-in or use someone to come up with the lyrics. So I do feel like that is the negative aspect of it.
You had to know how to play 1, 5, 6, 4 on the keys.
Absolutely. And I feel like that makes it a lot easier for people to jump into the game that may not have the same level of talent of others. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. It just makes it much more oversaturated. But the positive traits are that you can have access to tools and resources that you normally would not be able to.
I mean, I have access to a Fiona to lay the vocals down on an idea, so I need AI to lay those vocals down. Right,
and see that I feel like would be a problem, because if you can get my vocals and lay down the track, then it's like where's the separation with what makes me authentic as an artist? Why would you want to come and see me if you can just type it into your computer and create it yourself,
I don't think AI, and I have to agree with you on that, I don't think AI can ever replace the authenticity of an artist. I think in terms of a demo, it's a great tool because I can cut a record real fast and say, hey Fiona, what do you think about this? And you can listen to it, he's like, I like this, I like that, and you can take it into the studio and really develop something great. You just never know.
I agree, but now there are people creating whole soundtracks with AI vocals.
Wild.
And if you think about it, it cuts out the singer-songwriter, it cuts out the artist, because as far as the split sheets and breaking those things down, you no longer have a need for the artist.
It's like fair use, but to the 50th power.
Yeah, it's like a computer teaching a classroom full of students. You no longer need the teacher, the person who has put in all of that time, all of that effort, you're just this dissipated.
I want to thank you so much for joining us on the show. I want to leave our viewers and our listeners at home with some friendly advice from Fiona Mesha. If you were speaking to the upcoming Fiona out there in Iowa, for example, where we know there's nothing there, no offense, but there's nothing there, what would you say to them? What words of encouragement or inspiration could you provide to them?
I would say to have confidence in self.
Yes.
To keep going, be consistent, even when you don't feel like you have a plan or the path is not clear. Just continue to keep going. No one ever knows. No one has like a set way of how to get to X, Y, or Z.
Right.
You have to continue. Just have that belief. It doesn't matter who the person is. As long as you have the belief in self, you can make others believe, and that's what I would say.
What date is your single Up being released?
Up is being released on all streaming platforms on August 23rd.
August 23rd. Make sure you stream Fiona Mesha's single Up. And Fiona, where can we follow you on social media?
So you can follow me on everything at F as in Frank, IONAMESHA. That is my IG handle, TikTok. I also have a website, FionaMesha.com.
Fiona, thank you so much for being a special guest today. Congratulations. I'm excited to hear Up. Ladies and gentlemen, Fiona Mesha right here on Air with Brandon J. I'm Brandon. We'll see you next time. Goodbye for now.